Hey stars, it's me, Shar Star, and I'm back. I hope you guys are having a great beginning of your new work week. And let's get straight to it. Do you guys remember a story maybe a couple of weeks ago? It's going to compare the two stories all in one, right? Do you remember the story a couple of weeks ago about the little girl that played dead while someone had put a hit out on her family and she got the brother that wasn't harmed, the baby? And then do you remember the story where the three daughters, I think the mom took away their cell phones or something, so they chased her in the street and attempted to kill her, unalive her, excuse me. Well, this is a story all wrapped up, same thing, but wrapped up into one, really. And believe it or not, it's happened right here in Long Island. I'm really surprised I didn't hear about it before now. But yeah, so this is what it is. Listen, first off, I'm drinking some red wine today. No tea, no nothing. I For these stories, I needed a drink, okay? Okay, so this says New York mom played dead as 15-year-old son allegedly fatally stabbing grandmother after arguing over laptop. Okay, so this is how the story goes, right? Apparently, the son and the mother got into an argument because the mom had received um, a notification from school stating that the son had not completed some assignments. And, she questioned him about it. And I don't know what he said, but they begin to argue. Then the grandmother comes in and says, well, since he's not using his laptop for school, take his laptop away. Okay, so this young man, he gets up, he goes into the kitchen, comes back, knocks his grandmother down, and starts to stab her, right? Then the mom tries to intervene. He turns around and starts to stab her. Well, she played dead, so he thought that she was done. He went back to his grandmother, okay, and continued to stab her. First off, maybe I just want to get a little understanding of the ages that we're talking about. Okay, so the mom is 36, the son is 15, the mom is 36. Okay, the grandmother is 56. So the mom is 36, the grandmother's 56, the boy is 15. Babies having babies, pretty much that. So, I don't know what that's about, but nevertheless, um, he wound up stabbing his grandmother 35 times. 35. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Really. While he's doing that, the mother gets to escape. She runs out the front door. A car was passing. She, of course, is stabbed, and they let her in the car, and they drive to where she can call 911. And yeah, so he's facing 15 years to life in prison for unaliving his grandmother and for attempting to unalive his mother over a laptop. I tell you guys all the time, conflict resolution. There is none now. These kids don't have it. You know how when we were growing up and your mother and your grandmother, which were different, meaning when I was 15, my mom may have been 40. I'm just trying to say the gap of what's going on. You know what I mean? Which means she had me at 25. Then if she was 40, my grandmother was 63, 64. There was a bigger age gap. We weren't growing up together, put it that way. And like I see, and there's nothing wrong with it. I know a lot of moms, single moms that grew up with their children, meaning they had their kids at a very young age, 15 years old, 16-year-olds. And when you're 30, your child is 15, there's not a big difference, especially when they reach that 20 mark and you're only 30, 35 maybe. Not a big difference. I just think the upbringings are different. I just think that these kids, again, like I always tell you guys, they don't They don't deal with one another one-on-one. Everything is through social media, texting. They barely talk on the phone. Everything is social media. So it's not a lot of person-to-person action and just meeting and talking and putting your phones. It's none of that. So when things happen that, like a kid, I said to you guys before, where when you meet your first love, you think that's going to be the love of your life. You're never going to love anybody else, but we know we do. Okay. And the same thing when something really bad happens, and it may be our fault as a young person. We just go to another place and we try to figure out how to cover it up, how to get away with it. These kids, it's not that. It's not that at all. Don't think it's that. And that your parents used to say, "I'm not scared of you. I brought you in this earth and I'll take you out." Not necessarily, not this generation. You should be scared. You should be very afraid. Mhm. And I know a lot of y'all are going to say, "Oh, I'm never going to be afraid of something I brought into the world." You better. You better. Because they don't look at life. They don't look at moms and dads and grandparents the way that we did. And that's just you know, my feelings. Allegedly, they don't. This generation, I'm not saying they don't love their parents. I'm not saying they don't love their grandparents, but clearly, you stabbed your grandmother 35 times. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 35 times. Really? That's overkill. So that means that there's mental illness. So it's something there. There's something there. I'm something there because I don't know how many of those. Nevertheless, we're gonna, you know what? Enough is enough with that. We're gonna move on to something else. Okay, so this story, I'm bringing it to you. It happened in Russia. Remember that this happened in Russia, but I thought that it was very, very interesting how the dad dealt with the punishment and how he actually got away with the punishment. Okay, so I'm going to bring up the story. I want you to see what I'm talking about. Again, this happened in Russia, but very interesting. Okay, so it states that dad, how a dad made a friend dig his own grave and unalive himself after essaying his daughter, who was 6 years old. Meaning, the husband's friend, who I found out after reading the story, who was their babysitter. And I thought that was a little different, but okay. The husband's friend apparently didn't work, so he babysitted, and apparently he's babysitted other kids in this particular family. So it's a very close family, knit family. This is his best friend. He's considered family, right? And the father, I don't know what made him do it, but the father put some cameras up in the house. And the camera showed the friend, his best friend, who babysits his 6-year-old daughter at this time, but who has also babysitted other kids in this family. So we don't know how far this goes back. But right now we're dealing with this. Um, he put cameras up at his house, and he saw footage of this man. Um, the father is 35 years old, and his friend, which is the babysitter, is 32 years old. I just want to keep you, and the baby is 6. Okay. Well, he found out through the videos and the cameras he put up that the man was essaying his 6-year-old daughter. And it had, I don't know, something about the audio. She was really like crying on the audio and during the whatever. I wouldn't say attack because I don't know what to call it, but apparently it wasn't the first time and it had been going on. Okay, allegedly. So the father took justice into his own hands. What he did was he came home, got the guy, drove him out to the wood. They said the woods. So this is in Russia. Drove him out to the woods, made him dig his own grave, you know, and they say allegedly he made him unalive himself. So I don't know how you do that because it's either you do it or I'm gonna do it. Either way, it's gonna get done. So I probably would more so. What's the difference? But put it this way. He could have been, and this is hypothetically, and allegedly, he could have said, if you want to unalive yourself, it'll be easier for you. If I have to unalive you, I'm going to torture you and put you through it. So, nevertheless, the man unalived himself. Okay? After digging his own grave. Well, the father, somehow it came out and he was arrested. And he explained and had the video, the camera, to show what had happened and why he did it. I don't know. He was facing murder charges, of course, but what happened was, which I don't know how if this was planned or it just happened this way, but you know, all he could be really charged with was taking him from the home and taking him to the woods. Why? Because the person unalived themselves. He didn't. And they said that, after they did the investigation, it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound, right? Pow pow. So, with all that said, and of course, the people were outraged wherever this was in Russia that this man should not go to jail. He was protecting his family. He was, this man had did his family wrong and, essayed his 6-year-old daughter. So, they gave him 18 months in prison and he served 12. He's out. So, again, was it ingenious or was it all by just circumstance? Because the only thing that saved him was the person unalived themselves. So he couldn't be charged with murder because he didn't do it. So they only could charge him from like a kidnapping charge of taking him from the house and taking him to the woods. There's no charge in digging a ditch. I mean, what are you going to charge me for? This man is digging a ditch. He's just going to end up being his grave, but he's digging a ditch. So I thought that was interesting. Not to give you any of you people any ideas, no ideas, but I'm just saying. Maybe I don't know. I'm gonna leave that one alone. Okay, so another story that happened here in Philadelphia, right? Well, we hear of this pretty often, and it's nothing new, but I just want to reiterate and I want to remind you, those that have firearms in their home, to secure your firearms. And I'm going to be honest with you, it doesn't even matter if your firearm is registered or if it's illegal. Just please, you want to deal with an illegal gun, then that's on you. But your children deserve to live. They don't know how dangerous a gun is. They don't know. You're talking about kids, someone that's like 3 years old. They don't know how dangerous a gun is. So please, guys, legal, illegal, lock your guns up, put them up. Apparently, this father had his gun for whatever reason, but then as I read the story, I understood he had his gun under the couch. And mind you, the full family's home. The full family's home. And yeah, I'm going to put this up and I'm going to read the story and then I'm going to tell you. Okay, Philadelphia toddler dies after pow-powing herself in the eye with father's unsecured firearm. Okay? Okay, so this is how the story goes. Because we come to find out that because the father was into some underhanded and some shady stuff, it kind of explained, like you see in these movies where people have guns all over their home and they have them under their sofa. Well, he had his gun under the sofa for whatever. He allegedly was doing, selling narcotics. That's the word I can use. He was selling narcotics. So apparently it was probably a hand to hand, and he may even have people come in his house. So he had the firearm under the couch. Well, her name was Kaden Barnes. She was 3 years old. She found her dad's gun under the sofa. Mind you, everyone's home. This is a Saturday. Everyone's home on a regular day doing whatever. The dad doing whatever he does, but he forgot that or maybe didn't forget that the firearm was under the couch. That's where he kept it for his protection, for whatever. But Kaden got a hold of the firearm. And around 1:15 p.m. on Saturday, she accidentally pow herself. And the police say that the firearm was unsecured and both of the youngsters' parents were at home, meaning it wasn't like no one was there, the child was there, everyone was home. Okay, they rushed the baby to St. Christopher Hospital for Children, and she was pronounced unalived at 2:30. Okay, um, listen, it's sad. I just want you guys to understand and know that I understand for whatever reason. I'm not here to judge, but protect the children. This little girl was 3 years old. She had no idea the danger that she had found under the couch. And because no one was paying attention, she's 3. But sometimes when they're home, I don't even know what to say. I'm not a parent, I don't have any kids, and I know it has to be heartbreaking. Heartbreaking, especially for the dad to know that it was his firearm that could have been put somewhere. If he would have just put it heck, put it in your pants or in your own waistband. I'd rather it there than on the floor under the couch. What do you think babies and kids do? They crawl on the floor. This baby was 3 years old. Come on, people. So what we don't see, you say, oh, it's under the couch. She can't see it. The babies crawl. The babies stay on the floor. They only this tall. Like, yo, crazy, irresponsible. Okay, so let's go to a story about TD Jakes, right? And I know he may have some fans that are on. He may have some fans that subscribe to my channel. I'm not here to offend anybody. I'm truly, truly not. So I want you to understand, I'm not here to say anything against TD Jakes. I don't know him. I never met him. I've never been to his church. And thank God. I mean, take that back. But, seriously, I want you guys to know I'm not talking about a man of God because he has to answer for himself. And that's how I was brought up. Okay, so it says that TD Jakes plans to step down as senior pastor of his church. Okay. So it says Bishop T.D. Jakes steps down as senior pastor of the Potter's House just months after health scare. Okay. So apparently yesterday, T.D. Jakes, on Sunday, T.D. Jakes announced that he was stepping down as the head pastor of the Potter's House and was passing it on to his daughter, Sarah Jakes Roberts, and her husband, Tory Roberts. Okay. They said the announcement came during Sunday morning service, where Jakes addressed his congregation directly about the upcoming change. Okay. Now, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Now, not so long ago, before he had this alleged heart attack, right? And we all saw the video and everything, but you also know that his name was put into the Sean Puffy Combs thing, right? And that had brought scandal because they claimed that Pastor Jakes had attended these parties and different things, and so it was already scandal on the name already. And we're not even going to go back to when his son was arrested in the park doing what he was doing. So we're not even going to talk about that. But we're going to talk about the pastor, the Bishop T.D. Jakes, right? So I think that this heart attack thing, and this is just me allegedly, was the best thing that ever happened to him, to be honest with you. He survived it, the alleged heart attack. I thought it was very convenient, since his name was being thrown around with something as such as essaying and trafficking of young girls and stuff. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay. So he would have been stepping down from that anyway. But because of this alleged heart attack, we're no longer talking about his connection to Puffy. I haven't heard anything else. Everything has been about his health. And I thought that was the craziest thing because he had this heart attack on Sunday. And if I'm not mistaken, allegedly, he was home on Tuesday. I remember reading that. But So I don't know how a massive heart attack he had and everything. So I don't know. I don't know if this was a bait and switch type of thing, but I think that it's interesting that since he had this alleged heart attack, no one's talking about the connection with him and Puffy. Now, mind you, Puffy trial starts within a couple of weeks. It's now no longer months. We're going into the end of April. His thing starts in May, if I'm right. Yeah, May. So I don't know, guys, but I just find it very, very convenient that his name was being dragged all through this. Then he had this heart attack while preaching on the pulpit on a Sunday morning that's being televised. Oh, so convenient, right? And now we're not talking about his connection with Buffy. Well, I don't think it's over with, and I don't think it's. Don't think it matters. And at this point, I think that if he's stepping down now, it's the best thing. He should have stepped down before, to be honest. When these accusations came up and he couldn't prove right off the bat that they weren't true, you should have stepped down then, because it was bringing too many eyes and too much ill feelings towards the Potter's house. You know. Well, so like I said, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I just found it very convenient. And now he's announcing that he's stepping down as senior pastor. So that doesn't mean he's not going to be considered a pastor. He's just putting his daughter and her husband as senior pastors, and he's still working behind the scenes in there. You know what I mean? So I don't know, guys. I just wanted to let you know that now he's stepping down, and how convenient it was to think about it. You have not heard anything about him and the connection with Puffy since he had this heart attack. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'm actually looking for my lip balm, but I don't think I have it at my desk, do I? I think I do. Okay, so that was interesting. Okay, so we've been talking about the plane incidents, right? I personally think that these people, I don't care who it is, Delta, American, hell, you can go back to TWA if you want to. I think they have lost their complete mind. I don't think that they care about our safety. I don't think that they're even concerned. I think at this point it's all about the bottom dollar. All right. Okay, so imagine you're taking a flight from I think the flight was coming from Atlanta and was going to Houston, but I'll get back to that. All right. Now it says in April, this is in April, this month this of 2025, a ceiling panel collapsed mid-flight on a Delta flight 2417, forcing passengers to physically hold up, hold the paneling up. Everybody in this row, everybody's holding this paneling because the roof is collapsing. Okay? Everybody's for 45 minutes so they can turn around and go back. They already had took off. They had to hold the paneling up for it collapsing down on them. Okay, so let's go to that. Now, I don't know. The Delta, you've been getting a dirty, dirty, dirty rap lately. Like seriously, a dirty rap. Okay, so this is what happened. As the passengers stated, let me get this up because they actually have pictures, which I would be able to show you, which is here. Okay, it says plane ceiling collapse mid-flight as passengers hold it up with their hands before fixing it on their own. Okay, now, just so happened. Now, I'm going to show you, I want to bring the picture down so while we can get into it. Now, this is the flight. Okay, I want to bring this picture. Give me 1 second. Okay. As you see, look at all these hands. These are the hands right here. You see my cursor moving around? These are the hands that are holding up this paneling. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Now, apparently, Tom Winsky, he was a passenger, and he was seated in row 19, seat B. This happened this month, not long ago, okay? Delta Flight 2417. What happened was they said after the flight, when the flight started to take off, running down the highway, right? Running down the highway, running down the runway, right? And when it goes to take off, when it gets that first, they heard a big bang. Well, they kept hearing banging. And they thought, the passengers, meaning, thought that the luggage was shifting in the overhead headbins. They know the sound came up from top. So they're thinking that, because he's going up, as many of us have all the time, if the stuff, if the suitcases are tight in there, then they just hold. But if bags are smaller, they kind of move around a little bit and do whatever. So that's what the people thought was happening, right? Well, they said that it was taken off from Atlanta, and I'm sorry, it was headed to Chicago. So there's this flight. This flight was 2417 was from Atlanta, leaving from Atlanta, heading to Chicago. Okay. So after they heard the bang has taken off, but as they just get to where the height that they wanted to get to with the plane, they heard a rumble and the ceiling started to come down on them. It started to come down. So everybody started to trying to hold it up. Well, of course, you're not allowed to have tools and stuff on it. So they're asking, can anybody help? Everybody's jumping up, holding up this thing. So you're not only buying tickets for Delta, they're not serving you food, they're throwing you complete shade, might charge you extra for your bags. And now you have to come in there with a mechanic or a handyman to hold up their ceiling while the plane now turns around to go back to Atlanta. And apparently they heard the noise when it was taken off within the 45 minutes within 20 minutes of the flight going in. What the people are saying that they had to hold this thing up physically for 45 minutes until they got back to Atlanta. Okay. I don't know. It's like the planes are falling apart while we're on there. Like, come on, the wheels are falling. If you're not crashing the plane into something, or a wheel coming off, or a tail engine coming off, or some crazy person is trying to open up it's been nonstop with air travel since the new year and since the new administration. And with the new administration doing so many cuts everywhere, our safety is in danger. We're in danger, girl. We're in danger because he's firing a little bit of everybody, allegedly, everywhere. The air traffic controllers, the ones that keep us safe while we're in the sky, making sure there's no collisions and we stay where we need to be and make sure we're going where we need to be. He's cutting down. Remember, he tried to get rid of the whole class. They had a new class that was going to graduate. He originally got rid of them, but I believe that they brought them back allegedly. I don't know. We don't know when airlines do cuts. You cut back something with the airline, then they're going to cut in different areas, and maintenance can't be one of them. Maintenance cannot be something you even touch when it comes to flying. I don't get it. I understand our president is in Air Force One and this, that, and the third, and whatever, but most of us are on Delta. And some of y'all girls are on Spirit. So y'all really should be scared. Because if the majors aren't taking care of it, what would the little companies be able to do that the majors are not doing? They're all about the money. So I don't know, guys. So what wound up happening, there happened to wind up being, I believe, a contractor on this flight. And he happened to have that big tape. I don't know how he got it on the plane. Don't ask me. I'm just telling you what they said. They said that he used tape and just kept wrapping it to tape it because they had to hold it because it started to come apart. The ceiling, the part started dropping. Listen, too much to even think about or to even go through. But seriously speaking, now we have to maintain the planes. So we're buying the tickets and all of this, and now we have to maintain it. And you need us more than you thought you did, because now we're the ones sitting up in here. Mind you, you only got 3 or 4, maybe, I don't know if they're called stewardesses or whatever they are called now, but whatever they are, flight attendants, I'm sorry, no disrespect, no shade, but you only got 3 or 4 flight attendants on here, depending on how big this plane was and whatever that was. You needed us. If we wasn't there and capable of holding that thing up, the ceiling up, where would we be? What really could have happened? I don't know, guys. It's getting a little janky to me, and it's not cute. Okay, so we're gonna go to New Jersey. Hey. Okay, so I don't know. I'm gonna set the scene for you guys, right? Now, and I'm sure these are gated communities around the country, wherever, but I'm speaking of right here. And I've actually been to this particular gated community, okay? Um, this one is the Four Seasons gated community, okay? Um, okay, so this is what happens. When we have the gated communities, right, and you come through the communities, and there's usually like a water feature. We have a big lake, they have a big lake, and that's how the complex, the gated community complex and sections are broken off. Your main point is, okay, you get to the pond where it'll have a water feature where this big fountain just coming out. Yeah, it's a pond. It's a man-made pond. It has to be pretty deep. And you drive around it, go wherever you want, and most of the homes are on cul-de-sacs. So it's a gated community. One way in most of the time, one way out through security, right? So apparently this happened in uh, Manalapan. Yeah, Manalapan, New Jersey. Okay, and it's called the Four Seasons Gated Community. Again, I've been to this place. Beautiful. Okay. Well, um, apparently, I'm going to show you the pond as much as I can. Okay, so this is the pond, right? Well, I'm going to pull this page up. Now, this is the pond right here. Now, you can see, like, right where my cursor is here, this is like the water features. Right here where my mouse is moving, the water's shooting up, and right next to it over here, the water's shooting up. So it's something really nice, especially at night. It's lit. Okay, well, people said that they were walking this past weekend. They were walking, getting up for their walks in the morning. So one man said that he did a walk around, I believe, 9 or 10, and he didn't notice anything in the water. But then, or I think he went for his walk at 9. He saw nothing. He walks around the pond because, if you can actually do it for exercise. So he walks around the pond, didn't see anything. Other people come out an hour or 2 hours later. You can see what looks like the back end of a car floating out of the water. And next to it is a wheel, like a tire floating. So apparently, one of the wheels broke off or something, or the wheel came out of the trunk. More than likely. Okay, so again, I want to show you this picture just to let you know, because that's the picture of the car um, with the trunk right here. You see right here. Okay, right here where my thing is moving around crazily. You see it? Whoa, 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 whoa. That's the trunk of the car. That's the trunk. That's the back end of the car, and that's all that's out. Well, no one knows when this car went into this pond. And apparently it's pretty deep. If the front of it is there, you can slightly see the trunk of it. And this was a Ford Focus. Well, they found a body in the car. Um, but the thing is, they said the vehicle tires were muddy. Well, of course, it at some point went to the bottom of the pond, and I don't know if it floated back up or whatever. They found a pair of boat shoes in the trunk, and that tire that was also reported floating in the water must have came out the trunk when it. Okay, but you have homes around this pond. No one says. Everyone says that they didn't hear anything. The police, doing their investigation, are saying that they don't see any like tire tracks because it's, again, if you look at the back end of the lake, it's like a street, then it's like a sidewalk going all the way around the lake, and then once you get on the sidewalk, then that's grass which leads to the water, where they don't see any tire marks on the concrete, they don't see any tire marks in the grass. No one knows when this car went in. Like I said, one of the residents said at 9 o'clock, that wasn't there. The tire wasn't floating in the back of the trunk, wasn't there. Someone went out at 10 or 11, it was. They don't know when it happened. No one can explain why. So again, and because it's a gated community, I don't know if it's cambered, if it has that type. I don't know, but no one can explain this car. No tire tracks, no grass tracks. Nobody heard a splash. A car going into a pond, you're gonna hear a splash. And there are homes around this. So I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. It's really, really weird. Well, what I will say to you guys is, if you still if you're still a fan of R. Kelly, you may really still have a choice to have him perform at your birthday parties. I repeat that. If you are really still a fan of R. Kelly's music, um, I don't know. I think it seemed a little, I like a lot of his music, like most of us, of course, but I don't feel compelled to play it. I think I come off like a weirdo if someone hears me playing it. I don't know, because it kind of makes me think when I play the music, it kind of makes other people think I agree with him, but it really has nothing to do with it. It's an art. Anywho, R. Kelly now performing for fans' birthday parties over the phone from prison. R. Kelly is performing for fans' birthday parties over the phone from prison. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it like this. I'm gonna tell you the story. They said R. Kelly is allegedly performing for fans over the phone from prison, according to reports. Um, The Shame singer was allegedly caught on camera and seemingly on the other end of the phone line as one woman celebrated her 50th birthday. In the clip, they posted it. See, that's the thing. He sneaks and uses his phone call to sing for someone, and then what do? They put the mic to the phone and then videotapes it. So, of course, they said that the in the clip that was released on X, the woman is holding a microphone up to the phone to capture the sound of him singing "Happy Birthday," and then plays it for her guests at the party. And um, yeah, I don't know. This man never stops. I mean, uh, they said the woman wrote over the video, "R. Kelly singing to me on my 50th birthday." And yeah, she's happy to tell all her friends and family and everyone that's listening that R. Kelly is gonna call and sing happy birthday to her. And I mean, it's a 50th birthday, a person of a certain age. The younger group may not care too much about R. Kelly, but I would say people in their 40s and 50s, definitely. That's R. Kelly's era. You know what I mean? 50s? Yeah. Come on. Meaning people at the age of 40s and 50s really was with him because he's in his 50s. So, yeah. So, okay, there's always a chance if you can get it in and get the message to him, then hey, knock yourself out. Okay, so now we're going to talk about, we have a lot of stories about the schools, right? And I'm just constantly like, if I had a kid and if I could afford it, I would homeschool my kid. I would homeschool my kid. I'm serious. These schools are not safe. I don't care, private, public, they're crazy. And the people they have working in them, allegedly, is also crazy. Okay? So get into this. Um, this happened in Arkansas, and a school director among four accused of running makeshift child fight club and permits child abuse. Four, including a school director, so teachers and director, are among the four accused of running a makeshift child fighting club. Like, this is ridiculous. So what they're doing is having your kids fight, and they're betting. I bet you this one could beat that one. And how this came to light is somebody videotaped it, and someone sort of videotaped, and you can hear the kids are fighting, and you can hear the adults in the background pushing them to fight, telling them what to do, like stomp him, punch him, slap him, like that. And so they're accused allegedly of running a makeshift fight club. So they got your kids, they bet money and winning money off your kids while your kids are fighting, because they're fighting. You know they're fighting. What you want to do? You know they're fighting. So yeah. So Apparently there was a 30-minute video that someone recorded of these kids fighting and with the adults telling them what to do and pushing them into it and this, that, and the third. And so yeah, so now your kids, they are not just learning, they're fighting too. And then you wonder what's wrong with my child? Why is he so violent? He wasn't like this before. Why? Because they got him in school, they hustling them, acting like it's like they wrestling and clubs. I don't know. I don't know. And the kids, they didn't say the age of these kids, but I what I will say to you is, you know how kids love video games. So if they can reenact a video game, and if that's what you're telling, whatever, I don't know. It's weird. But all of this came, all of this, they were arrested and went to court apparently for the first time on the 21st of April. So not long ago, a week ago. So yeah, the school director and some teachers and whatever else. That's what that is. So yeah. So we're going to move on. I don't know what's going on with this, but I've come too far to turn back now. All right. So, are you guys aware now? I know when I was growing up, I was aware of apartheid in Africa, and Nelson Mandela and different things, right? But do you know that there's Orania? That's the name of it. It's called Orania. Orania in South Africa is a white-only town. You can look it up. It's so crazy. Now listen to this. Orania is an all-white only town, right, in South Africa, located in the Northern Cape. The community was built on private property in 1963. Okay. The Afrikaners community in Orania has been criticized for undermining national unity and perpetrating apartheid ideologies. They want to be separate. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to show you some, I don't know what this is, and Orania is a town of 3,000 people. Okay, this is in South Africa. Apparently, it's their town is all on private land. So apparently, someone, in my mind, just allegedly, somebody has to be paying for all of this. Someone's behind it, as far as, because from what I'm seeing, now I'm going to show you what I can of the town. You can feel free to research and you'll be able to do more, I'm sure. Now, Orania residents on why Black people are not allowed in this particular town, right? Okay, so I don't know why these 5 men here, I don't know what that's about. They all look really fit. And what I noticed is, I don't know, nevertheless. Okay, and then the next picture right here, over here, right? This is part of this is the town. They're showing you, like, this is not some old Western rinky dink. This town has been here since 1963, older than most of us. And yeah, I just wanted you guys to know that there is an all-white town in South Africa, of all places. Now we know that all Africans are not brown skin. We have Caucasian Africans. Yeah. So I wanted you guys to know that. Let me see. It was something else I wanted to tell you about this town, because I don't know why I know what it is. So people of other cultures other than Caucasian Africans are not permitted to live there. This town was built on private property in 1963. It's self-sufficient. It has its own businesses, its own schools, hospitals, and even currency. Now, that part of it, I don't know, but they have their own. How does a place with 3,000 people have their own currency? How? Maybe it's a barter system. I'm not sure. But again, they keep stating that this town is on private property. So let's think about it. has to be a lot of property to be considered a town. And what I just told you, and they have their own businesses, schools, not school, not hospital, schools, hospitals, okay? And they even have their own currency. So I don't know what that's about, but again, um, other people in South Africa, they know about this town. They don't speak of this town, and it's allowed to be there. And because it's on private property, they are pretty much allowed to do what they want. So that's why when they said it's a town of 3,000 people, well, there has to be some type of property. Okay, first of all, to call it a town, and then for 3,000 people with businesses, schools, hospitals, fire department, things like that. Somebody's backing that. Somebody has to be. Okay. So I wanted you to know about this particular town in South Africa. We have these sundown towns that we talk about here in the United States, but they have them in South Africa too. Well, I'm not going to talk too much. Well, you know what? I'll save that for the next video. I love you guys. I want you guys to be in the know. I want you to be intentional. I just want you to enjoy the remainder of your week and have a great time. And I will see you guys soon. Love you.